Hello, Captain Bringdown here. This is a special request video. I will be addressing my two Reddit posts, which is referencing to the Golden Path and how it can be seen at the hippie egg camp mural. This is part 1 of the egg, and part 2 will be in direct reference to the second post in which I describe this path. Right now I'm in the process of finishing up First Dose and Last Dose DLC clues, and I want to show you the clear path that is also being shown to us by Rockstar to help guide you through this maze. But this video is for those who are eager to get started on this journey and just need a small adjustment to their understanding. See, a quick message that has to go out to my followers. Guys, I will be releasing some greatest moments in like Battlefield and Battlefronts and other games to get them off my hard drive. I'm running out of space here, guys. So you have been warned. But this part 2 will be out very shortly. But to get started, I want you all to understand something I come across from most mystery hunters. Everyone saw something obscure, some obscure clue in the game that gave them a message. But here's something I want you all to ask yourself is this. If that small clue is relevant, then why wouldn't you think that the story and the dialogue wasn't relevant? How did you come about finding this clue in the first place, and in what context was it given to you? You see, this whole world is giving you a message and is being used to guiding you into where you're supposed to be in these events in the game. Like, for instance, this clue here. What is this place? Do you know where I am? Well, those who started from nothing in Grand Theft Auto 5 will know this place well. But others may ask yourself, why am I even here? And even if you do come here, what is the message you were supposed to receive? And again, this is very obscure, right? The reason why I'm here in the first place. But I'm going to talk about this hippie egg camp mural, something that's not so obscure, but how it is in direct reference to the Chiliad Mural and referencing to the mystery itself. Also, like my followers will tell you, understanding how these names and all these things, when looking into them, they start to give you a message. But this is a grain of truth. I'm just going to show you how these things are in relevance to the mystery. But this golden path is a metaphor. This is a step as far as the colors go. It begins with gold but changes to other colors as the game progresses. But in order to get through the door, you must do this path correctly. This is the key. It's golden path. But this key isn't always gold, as you can see here in reference at Legion Square. And this is also connected to another 7-fold path, this purple path that is in reference here, which I've shown in my other videos, Epsilon's involvement in this and how this is connected to this alien egg. But this world egg that must be deciphered, cracked, as they said. I want you to see this alien installed art piece here. This egg and this egg on the Chiliad Mural are in fact the same egg. This is Rockstar's reference to their real and not real, the surreal that they actually embraced. Now this is officially called Silent Probe Mountain by the game, but it's based off the real Salvation Mountain in California. Look into the history of this and you will start to see their answers. But this is Rockstar's mountain. And we call it for short the hippie egg camp, but agree that this is in fact an egg, and that this egg is the world of Grand Theft Auto 5. And look at this, and you'll start to see that this egg is in fact in the center of this tree, and how this is in fact the Chiliad Mural. You can see how the bottom is connected here, and just as these two are connected there. So like in the mural, you can see that the reference here, as this path goes all the way around and connects them together. This beginning and end. You can look at the hidden steps that are being shown here, but how everything is in reversed in the order. Well, what do you mean hidden steps? Well, you see the Chiliad Mural is a moving maze. This is a path through the maze that they are showing us, but you're only seeing this from one side. So the key is to understand that as you're moving through this, you have to make the right choices as you're going through this maze, and this is your way path through it, cutting through it. And again, if you're looking at this from one direction, you're only seeing the path itself. But now look at how these squares, these three that are separated from one that we see here on the top of the mural. Very interesting, their placement and height as well. We see the same relationship across from here. And we also see how the lower part of the mural is based off of this part here. See how they're separated by those two and the last one on top. We also see the very top of the glyph here matches, which is supposed to be at the top of the mural on that tree, matches that of the mural on the Chiliad Mountain. So, but then there's also these two hidden paths shown over here on the side. But I want you to pay attention to the colors, and this is something I referenced on an earlier Reddit post about this hidden path. This is a direct reference to the creator, Mr. Knight, who lived in a house built on a truck. But we see this as actually a pattern through the game. This is the creator's house, and you'll see that these patterns do not repeat themselves. They're giving you a message here. Your key is you need to match these colors, like these distinctive stripes here. So what is this blue and red in these stripes? So now this is where we start to see this merging of these two things, this union that must take place here, which I've kind of explained briefly, which I will explain more in another video. But notice the boxes, the tires, why all the trash? Why do we see the colors here, dark green, purple, kind of a reddish purple, but here very distinctive dark green? We see a burnt truck, and then we see a shirtless truck, or a naked frame of a truck.
Ah, red truck, huh?
Reminds me a lot of the Epsilon involvement here. Notice the moon in front very dimly, but notice my boxers, and my path is always lit. So anyway, but when we come over, we also see the satellite dish there. But notice the kicking glyphs here in a circle. We also see this on the gas tanks on this truck on both sides, which relate to how many times you see somebody getting kicked. Notice the Epsilon blue tarps and colors, barrels. There's a bike, a couch. Now this couch, what is this couch in direct reference to? Well, there's only one place I know, and I see a very distinctive couch reference. But what about the bike?
Hey, hold up.
Notice the blue and gold.
One of these motherfuckers.
Right around the corner here, we see where Michael has to make another judgment call. So again, we're seeing where there's a connection between a judgment call here and a judgment call with repossession. This is a big deal. Notice the colors will follow. Tires and pizza I will explain again in another video and going through the path itself. You can see Epsilon blue, green stripes, and these red markings here. What is this, right? Now let's go look in the reference to here, the WOW signal. Life is universal. Welcome, Space Brothers, on the WOW signal, which was picked up by the Big Ear satellites in real life. Notice again the colors associated. So these are Big Ear satellites. And now what is the universal reference to? What are we using these equipment for? This is actually where I drop off Jimmy after hanging out with him.
Now you can dock your Life Invader to an iFood phone or any other device.
Any other
Take
device.
all the data off it and reformat it into Life Invader friendly information.
And before you start asking if that thing in your mouth is making you gay, I want to start talking about these little red dots here, and what I believe is a clear representation. Do we see the same symbolism being portrayed again? These descending dots are descending red, which I believe this is in fact the space docker. But you can see clearly how you see the same thing here on this pamphlet, a reference to Uranus 42, reference to Uranus, which we also see the plates over at the observatory. But I believe this is the space docker. Notice the red line. Notice how the one on the side is green with the wheels on, and we look on the other side, we see the wheels like off to the side with the red markings. Where have I seen that off to the side with the wheels? So it kind of made us think that there was another mode in which this space docker went on. Notice there are 3 barrels here associated with fire, fuel. These glyphs that are going with time, the flipping up and down, the dancing of those other glyphs that we see on top. But these glyphs are very specific. They're mirror images of each other. Notice that we see the water, we see the busted monitor, the magazines. So 3 barrels with fire, 3 barrels with water. Karma, life. Karma is action. And this is directly related to the bottom half of what we see in the mural. So this is again why we think it is reference to Space Talker. Save us. I isolated on the car bumper, also isolated on this mural here. You see the times and you see the glyphs, very distinctive to that as well. The LOHP that is not blurred out. So if you can believe me that left one is the Space Talker, then this mysterious dot right here on the right must be in reference to the end. But see, most people believe that this was maybe reference to the top glyph. which is on top of the mound, but that is clearly the top of the Chiliad mural. So it's showing us again this crescent moon related to this final event on top. So it's the other glyph on the bottom. Look at the colors on how it's the red and the gold that are related to each other. The gold is the peak of the pyramid. So this is a direct reference to the ending. We see a barrel, a fire, another barrel, and a light and a table. Interesting. So look at this again and see this in context as something that's happening in the beginning. But what is this red dot? What could it be in a reference to? Is this just Michael? Green light, go. But let's talk about the distinctive golden path here. But it's not exactly all gold, is it? It's got a very distinctive blue in various sections, and there are a lot of sections that there are gold just alone, where we see life isolated. Notice, just like the mural, we see these X's, this golden path. But like I said before, we see gold, we see blue, and we see green all over this mural. These are all in references to something in the game as you're going through the game. The symbology in this whole game is created about this. Even when we look at it here, this is our building blocks, stepping stones. But what is this blue and gold? Relate this also to missions in the dialogue.
If you say so.
See muffs, 0. Notice the blue and gold. Notice the blue and gold. Notice the red. Notice the green. Once you start to notice that this is an important thing you must pay attention to, these are key integral moments in the game. So what you're doing is trying to line up these things together as to building this perfect path for you. It's not just gold, it's gold and blue. But as you can see here, again, we see this reference to rain and up here. But what is this section that's being sectioned off? What is this weird merging that we keep seeing here? Now, if we look at it in context to how we're given the clues on this side, it's showing us that this is a repeating pattern over and over again. And each time this pattern that's changing has to do with all these sections of the mystery. And notice the F and notice the hands. Who do you know who starts off like that? These 3 tiers here, as we see the section of this mound. Now, where else have I seen that 6 before? That symbol. Oh, yeah, in a land before life, one man will rise up again. Drag on 6. What life could they be talking about in reference to the game itself? So now you can see how what we're seeing here is a direct reference to, again, very specific events in the game. 69 down with the 2 dots in the circle. If you don't think it's a 6, look, it's got the 2 dots over again. Once you start comparing these things to everything else, do you see the Birdman's face? Have you changed your perspective enough to see them winking at you? This is how Rockstar is messing with you. Is everything they are creating is based off of everything in this game, metaphorically and literally. What does it look like from many different directions? This bird beak man's face. So now you see that its voice is actually speaking that dot. Now, well, I've mentioned this plate many times before. When's the first time we see it? This is in the intro, Frank and Lamar in the psychiatrist's office. So that means that little circle there is actually the eye. So in order to go through the eye, again, we're seeing the reference here of these 2 things. So now you look at the arrow and how it's connecting the eye and the beam me up Uranus on the other side. So you can see how there's this connection here to something that's going on the side, as they say, or under the chin, under the table. Notice the clef, the symbolism between beam me up, take me up Uranus. Epsilon blue, this green cleft. This very specific graffiti that you only see here. What is this reference to your Uranus? Again, in the Greek context, this is sky people. But notice how that plate matches that plate. This was giving exact coordinates to anybody who wanted to find us. These are exactly 12 links connecting to this one thing in order to be beamed up. We also see this very specific pattern in which things must be lined up. We see this joke in the sense that this is a penis and it's shooting off 3 loads as you see the circles going straight up. Again, so this here is again showing us this is an alignment, these circles, this is a celestial alignment. Notice the very distinctive shape of these plates. It's a very specific oval shape, right? Now look at all the other references in which you see, like, where is this place? What did you find there? This is where you take a quick dip. It's actually an actual achievement. And this is also where that mission ends. And you know, and this is also the ending of marriage counseling. You see this exact specific oval done over and over again in reference to this. And again, the completion of a cycle. But you must decipher these things. You must understand what these things mean. Like, why is there the globe here? What is this, again, in reference to? Why do we see these aliens, which they have third eyes when it is actually raining here? But how many aliens are there? Think about all the different alien encounters in this game. Now, are we talking about all the literal ones, or are we also talking about the metaphorical ones? Right? Notice how in here it's a very specific 4 aliens, which we also see in prologue. Or excuse me, I call it intro, Frank and Lamar. So all these aliens are lining up at a very specific time to be what's going on at that time. And when you do these things correctly, you're building these templates in which the game's trying to create for you. See the alien behind there? The alien. But see, you must have certain equipment at a certain time in order for these things to actually happen. That's what the game is saying. What about these hearts? You know, and I will get into this ring here, but let's talk about this matter of the hearts. Are these the literal hearts you have to go for?
Heart shot, like a true
But what's interesting is in that mission, the trees actually line up the hearts. Not much of a brain either. See, it's these dialogues that are lining all this stuff together, so that, again, this is the metaphorical for the symbolism they're giving us that are literal.
We've made up enemies, matters of the heart. Is he fucking with me? Probably not.
So this is how putting these clues together with the dialogue and what's going on in the game is actually how you're combining, like, for instance, this alien with the wow signal. Notice how there is a distortion in these lines. There's a pattern. Something is going on at this very specific time, which things must be done. But what are these lines? Can you see them? Did you notice them when they were given to you in the first place? And then can ask yourself, in what context is this a clue? Are you in or are you out? Is it low enough? You see the lines? Now here's everything all at once. Blue, gold, lines transcending to the red, the green, the gas, the fuel. This is where the game, it just keeps going. Also, don't forget, Muffs is right there too.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Turns out maybe I'm cut out for the movie business after all, huh?
I would say you're overqualified. Anyway, shut up and take a look at that.
Notice how those lines line up perfectly with the blinds.
Look, man,
did you see them the first time it was given to you?
In my life. It seems like all I do is
right
let
there.
people tell me what to do and I do it and nothing changes.
I tell you what, my boy, you tell me exactly what you want and I will very carefully explain to you why it cannot be.
What?
This is because these clues are given to you constantly from the beginning of the game. Now, speaking of alignment, notice how the tree also aligns with these very specific glyphs, but also align with that very specific mound, which is where we find the space talker in single player. It's not until you start putting everything together that you start to find actual answers. So, but you must learn to decipher. These are exact events in the game, people standing like that. Notice how a section of time was blocked, how these colors are associated with events in the game. They do not repeat as they go over. Learn from what you see. Learn how things are supposed to be put together. So next time you come over here or anyone asks, what about this special egg-shaped camp here, you will know. You can tell them this in fact is the Chiliad Mural. This in fact is in reference to the golden path on which we should be playing this game. This is what mystery hunters must be looking for. Compare all these things together to unlock this. But this is just a taste of this maze. You must know this game very well to be able to know it from things that you see. You can relate the colors again. But again, Rockstar makes these places very important for you. And even more in online, they keep adding more and more things to make them more and more important. And that is something that you must be prepared for when searching. Why is this place important? But next video, part 2, I will be going through this exact path that I described and show you how this golden path is being expressed. Till next time, Captain Bing Down out.